Hello everyone, Agent of Insomnia back again, and sorry if the title of this video is clickbaity to you. I did use the Ramble tag as I am given to place on my videos from time to time to let you know that this is going to be a little bit of a journey to get to the point, right? Because I'm a rambler. Us great ramblers like me and Kazoom or Robert Wallace, who I just asked to make a video about the straw ban in Seattle. You know, we ramble. Us ramblers ramble, okay? And this ramble begins with YouTube Fame Crazy parts 1 through 5, right? So I said that I was not going to make a part 6 in my Discord chat until such time as there was enough content for a part 6, because I really felt like there was closure at the end of part 5, right? We've gotten all the cringe that we need to get. It got to a good stopping point. Why add to it? You know, it's like, does anybody really want to acknowledge that Rocky 5 exists in the Rocky movie canon? You know, Rocky 1 through 4, okay. Creed 1 and 2, okay. But Rocky 5, ugh. You know, that was he took it too far, right? And so I was like, you know, I'm happy with the series where it is. You know, and of course there was still some fallout coming to me in the form of some of my videos getting disliked to the tune of around 50 dislikes each, and some of the view counts of my videos being fucked with. The last one of which was my video where I was singing "He's Got the Whole World in His Hands," and I had a moon. You know, it was just a couple videos ago, and you know, I got a message from the guy who's fucking with my analytics and trying to troll me, I guess, into agreeing with him and being his friend. So he's adding dislikes to my videos in order for me to come around to being his friend. That's his logic. Okay, so Presta Claus, we like to call him, his Twitter handle. He put a bunch of dislikes on my videos, and it doesn't really bother me because I'm one of those guys who actually celebrated when I got 10,000 dislikes on all my videos. I made a video celebrating it, you know. It's just, to me, it's just a meaningless number. You know, if there aren't actual people watching, if there aren't actual people commenting and having a discussion, you know, the view count and the thumbs counts are meaningless. And Michelle Knight, herself a great rambler in her own right, even though she's kind of half tech vlog, she sent me a recent article on the YouTube portion of the Google support forums, and YouTube expert, Google employee, YouTube Lucas wrote this article called "Improved Accuracy of Like and Dislike Counts Across YouTube," right? Okay. And so it says here that starting on June 14th, 2018, you may notice that the number of likes and dislikes in YouTube Analytics is different than what you see on the watch page under the video. And it was actually very accurate. All of the dislikes that I would have attributed to Presta Claus do not show up in analytics. They still show up on the watch page when you're looking at the video, but I think they've got a hold of, like, which ones were paid dislikes and which ones were not. They're trying to actually remove spam dislikes from affecting you, right? They still show up on the watch page for now, right? I don't know if they're going to give us an option to clean it up or whatnot, but for those people who have been spammed by third-party services that sell likes and dislikes and sell views, it looks like they're actually coming up with technology that can track and remove such false analytics numbers, and I am loving it. Right? I think it's long overdue, and so this video is an aside from that whole series of YouTube fame crazy that's about Presta-Claus, because this thought has less to do with Presta-Claus than it does with YouTubers that I know that have been spammed with dislikes, right? I used to think that it was kind of impressive that people such as Steve Shives would end up having to turn off their like to dislike ratio, because I felt like they had amassed such a following of haters from just being the black sheep of the community, that they would have to hide their numbers, right, in order to still look presentable. I thought it was impressive that, you know, thousands of people would all, in unison, you know, do a synchronized down thumbing of Steve Shives' videos, right? That's what it appeared to be. Like, so many popular YouTubers had made videos about Steve Shives, just haranguing him for his views, you know, and making him basically a poster boy for social justice warriors, right? So I felt like, wow, this is, you know, pretty impressive that it's got staying power, because there's other people that have had videos made about them that have different viewpoints, that have had a cavalcade of down thumbs happen for maybe one or two videos, maybe three, but never as ongoing and long term as was what has happened to Steve Shives. Some examples would be myself, when I had been featured on The Drunken Peasants, and I made a video, you know, basically welcoming their onslaught of down thumbs, which didn't really happen that much. You know, I basically explained myself, and it went away. But also, Robert Wallace, who I already mentioned, and Kazoom, both had videos made about them from Bearing, right? Because he loves to review people who disagree with him, and cut up their videos in that old ponage style that a lot of us grew out of, but still does draw a crowd, you know, just like a fight on a schoolyard. So they had videos made about them. They basically told off all the people who came to their channel to start harassing them, and it went away. Within about 3 videos, it's gone, right? But Steve Shives, right, like king of all the punching bags here on YouTube, Steve Shives still has to hide his like to dislike ratio on every video that he puts up, because it's going to get a whole bunch of spam down thumbs the second that he allows that option, right? And I thought, well, maybe he just has a whole bunch of people watching him to disagree, right? People that have been blocked on YouTube but don't realize it yet, because YouTube will still allow you to comment, and your comments are still visible to yourself. You're kind of like shadow banned on just one channel if you get blocked by that YouTube user. Maybe, you know, but I'm now coming to the realization, after watching Presta-Claus's videos that he made showing that he was paying to put dislikes on my channel, and he was doing screen grabs of the actual site where he was paying for these dislikes and showing how little he had to pay. The economy of it, you know, was such that it doesn't take a lot of money to sustain the kind of thing that has happened to Steve Shives. You know, if you can imagine that some people will go to Steve Shives' Patreon as fans of his and donate $1 per video, right? It takes less than $1 per video to ruin that dislike ratio, right? So if someone likes him enough to give him $1 and help him out, you know, somebody who dislikes him an equal amount, I guess, might actually decide, you know what, I'm going to go the opposite direction and actually pay $1 every time I see a video of his and ruin his thumb ratio. And I feel right now that this is kind of like the logic of Mr. Glass in Unbreakable, you know, where he's like, if I'm so crippled, there must be somebody out there that has the opposite, a superhero, you know. But I feel like it's probably much more plausible, given how long this has been going on, because now with Prestaclaus as my YouTube rival and troll, I can look back on my last 2 months of videos and see about 50 down thumbs on almost every video, just whenever he decides to remember that, you know, I exist, and he comes over to my channel and just does another order of 50 down thumbs, 50 down thumbs, 50 down thumbs. You know, and sometimes he does things like fuck with a video's view count to just show that he's still there. You know, I had about 200 video views on the He's Got the Whole World in His Hands video, and then it sprang up past 1,000. I'm like, well, this is odd. No one's commenting, no one's liking and whatnot. And I was like, it's Preston. He just bought me a whole bunch of video views. And then, you know, he said as much in a message saying, you know, I should be thankful to him because he helped me out. You know, that was a comment on the video and whatnot. And I'm really rethinking whether or not Steve Shives was anywhere near as unpopular as the numbers bore out, you know. I know that he was getting unsubscribed daily, right? There is another thing that can happen, another... It's kind of a byproduct of all this messing with somebody's numbers. If you pay for fake subscribers to a channel, like it is very cheap the way that Preston's doing, pretty much each day you will see a loss of those subscribers, because the kind of websites that they use are the sub for sub things. There'll be like one website that is the front for it, where it's all sub for sub, and then there's the backdoor website where people pay money to be added to the pool of people that those sub for sub people are supposed to subscribe to without having to do sub for sub themselves, right? So it's like a two-tiered system. Those who are paying money into it, and those who are subscribing to 10 people so that 10 people will subscribe back to them randomly. In that mix, you know, those real YouTubers that are trying to game the system with sub for sub are being tricked into subscribing to other people's channels. And in that way, the pay service is trying to add real people to the mix, right? I just realized how my hand kind of looked weird on this microphone. Sorry. So, what you get in a system like that two-tiered system, is those real YouTubers who are doing sub for sub, a lot of them are trying to gain this system as well. They are subscribing to the 10 people that are required of them to subscribe to, so that they can get some subscribers in return in that system, and then in the very same day, probably in the same 5 minutes, they are cleaning up their subscriptions by unsubscribing, because they actually use their YouTube accounts to keep track of the people that they want to be subscribed to. So they subscribe to people only nominally for a couple of minutes, and then unsubscribe to them just to clean up their feeds, right? And if somebody makes a video and they have a whole bunch of those subscribers that really didn't want to be subscribed to them anyway, every time they make a video, those kind of subscribers realize, oh, hey, this guy's in my feed and I don't know who he is. Let me just unsubscribe from him. They know what they did in trying the sub for sub thing, but they're not really prompted to unsubscribe from someone until that person is filling up their subscription feed, because they're still trying to use that YouTube account that they were trying to grow artificially with sub for sub. And so when you hear about people complaining about every time I make a video, I get a whole bunch of people unsubscribed from me, it's a YouTube glitch. No. What happened was either they paid for fake subscribers, or somebody else paid for them to have fake subscribers, or the subscription service is trying to hide themselves from YouTube's algorithm being, finding out that their service is predictable, and just adding a few people here and there to the mix that are already popular, so that if they try to hurt just their service, they're going to hurt a lot of their content creators, right? So the reason why people lose a whole bunch of subscribers every time they make a video is pretty much their subscription numbers are bloated, because they've got a lot of sub for sub people who never really wanted to be subscribed to them anyway. They just hit subscribe to these 100 people, and then 100 people will subscribe back to me. And they screwed up their own accounts. They don't want to be subscribed to those people. And as soon as that person makes a video and it's clogging up their subscriptions feed, that's when they get unsubscribed from them. Anyways, back to my point. It's very possible that someone not only was slamming Steve Shives with a whole bunch of down thumbs each video, that maybe they were watering down Steve Shives' channel with fake subscribers as well, maybe to blow up his ego, or also maybe in this day and age of the YouTube algorithm, this current version, if you put out a video, it only gets promoted to a certain portion of your subscribers in their subscription feeds, and then if a certain ratio of those people click and watch it, then it goes out to the rest of your subscribers, right? It may be that somebody was trying to kill Steve Shives' channel by flooding it with fake subscriptions, so that initial send out of a sample of his subscribers that his video would go to would only go to just a few of the people who are actually subscribed to him to watch his content because they enjoy him. And then it would ruin him in the algorithm. So, in the end, I'm left with thinking, was Steve Shives actually far more popular than any of us realized? You know? Because he was up against some fuckery. You know, it's very obvious to me now that somebody is paying a very little amount of money to do a large amount of damage to his thumb ratio, and perhaps other aspects of this channel as well. and yet he's still around, and he still hobnobs with some of the larger social justice-minded people. I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I need to rethink, whether or not that horde of people that it seemed were all in line with hating Steve Shives and making this meme about I was blocked by Steve Shives and all that, and making him out to be this laughingstock. Maybe those were actually the minority, and we were all tricked.